Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Man Children PCMC. You just heard the PCMC theme by Bill Gagliardi. Anthony,
I didn't hear it.
you're a big Bill Gagliardi fan?
I am. I'm a huge William Gagliardi fan.
You know, it's funny. I was over at the Gagliardis recently, and their baby was telling me that he likes me more than you.
No, that's false.
He was saying...
he doesn't speak.
He was
full
saying,
sentences yet.
he said, I like Anthony. Don't get me wrong, but I prefer you. We get it. You have a dog. That's what the baby said.
What's his middle name, Mike?
I don't...
Better Uncle.
I won't say it because this is a live forum, and I have Bill and Janine have not given me... have not told me I can say his name,
Right.
but I know it. Be sure I know it.
Of course.
So that's the voice of Anthony Bongiorno. You're here with me today. Hello, Anthony.
Hello, how are you?
How are you today?
I'm great.
Fantastic. It's great to be here. I've got some coffee.
As do I. What are you drinking over there?
Mm.
You have, for those of you at home, Mike has the mic up to his lips as he sips his coffee.
I've got recently, you know how like I'll go like a year on decaf and then not, and then a year. So I recently fell off the wagon and I went from decaf to
Full calf.
to not even Americanos.
Oh, is that stronger than a regular?
Yeah, Americano is a latte but with water instead of milk.
Ooh, so it's espresso and water.
Yeah, it's called Americano because
That's how they do over in Europe. That's American
well, during
coffee,
World
I think.
War II, when Americans would come, they wouldn't understand why you were giving them little
Because
coffee.
if you ask for a black coffee anywhere else, they give you espresso.
Right.
Yeah.
So they'd be like, the American style will just water it down for you, so it's in a
The
bigger cup.
stupid style.
It's a condescending name. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm drinking an iced blonde roast latte.
What's the blonde roast taste like?
It's lighter. You want to try it? I mean, I put a lot of sweetener in it,
Sure, I'll take a little.
but it's like a light espresso. It's very. It's good.
This is a real ASMR episode.
I'm gonna whisper like this.
Excuse me. Oh my God, Anthony, there's so much happening. You know, we're in the 90s now. So I might as well advertise what's coming up in the month of October. As you know, October is always an important time around here at PCMC. It's Halloween season. There are 5 Wednesdays in October, and the first Wednesday will be the 100th episode, which will just be me and Emilio Sparks having a conversation without any boundaries. We're just going to talk. No theme or anything, just us talking.
I thought you were gonna do a clip show.
No. That's too much work. And Clark's the cartoon already did that idea. So I want to it's just going to be like us talking about whatever. Probably a little bit of the show or whatever.
It should be very meta, and you should talk about the show on the show.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm going to talk about episodes. Like,
Yeah.
what episodes do you think we should redo? And
Yeah.
because I've already got some episodes that I'm like, I'd like to redo.
Okay.
Or like themes I'd like to redo.
Okay.
And then every one of the Rogues Gallery is going to have a Halloween special. That's the rest of the month. So you'll have a Halloween special.
Great.
Janine had a Halloween special. Vin has one. You and I haven't talked about it yet, what we're going to do, but we'll figure that out off mic.
So everybody's probably taking all the good ideas. I bet $100 American, one of them wants to talk about the Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors.
That's Janine.
I knew it was going to be Janine.
But you can too. There's a lot of those.
Nah, I'm not up on them, but I knew that was coming.
All right. So I guess let's go to the news.
All right.
So in news, Lana Wachowski has announced that she alone is making a Matrix 4.
I thought that it was the two of them.
No, it's just Lana.
Oh, okay.
And
Isn't Keanu Reeves, everyone's on board, right?
everybody except the other Wachowski.
Why?
I have no idea.
Lily is the other one, I think, right?
Well, they've got that amazing story where
They were the Wachowski.
they're both transgender.
Yeah, they were the Wachowski
where
brothers.
people called them the Wachowski
and then they were the
brothers.
Wachowskis.
Right.
I guess now they're still the Wachowskis.
The Wachowskis.
But they could
Right.
go by the Wachowski sisters now, I guess.
Yeah, Lana used to be called Larry, and I don't remember.
Lily was... I don't remember.
I don't remember Lily's former
Which
name.
one was... One of them was first by about like 5
Lana was
years.
first, and I think Lana's more just public figure.
Okay.
So it's interesting because the siblings together created the original trilogy, but only one is working on part 4.
That is interesting. I wonder if they're going to do like what the current trend is, where they're going to make it a direct sequel to the first one.
I mean, that would not be a bad idea.
No, it wouldn't. And it kind of like ignore 2 and 3.
I feel like they're very invested in the mythos of 2 and 3.
Well, yeah, because they were really involved.
Right. Yeah, they really did it like a trilogy. So, I don't know what I feel about this because I loved the first one like everyone else, and I was blown away when I saw it.
I haven't seen it again in like over 10 years.
Me neither.
I should revisit it.
And I saw 2 once and I fell asleep during it. I found it very boring. And then I haven't seen 3 really at all.
I think I saw 3 when it first came out. I don't remember it.
So I don't know what 4 is. It feels like it ended at 3.
I don't even remember how it ended, to be totally honest.
I think
Didn't
spoiler alert, but I don't know if this is even true. I think Keanu Reeves' character dies.
That's
and I think the Matrix is
yeah, I was gonna say
all liberated.
Aren't people liberated? That's all I kind of remember.
Yeah. So is this a part 4 or is this the beginning of another trilogy?
Ooh. Well, I don't know. That's a good question.
The Wachowskis haven't done anything.
Have they done anything else?
No, they have, but
what else did they do?
Speed Racer.
I heard
Cloud
that's actually
Atlas.
underrated. I haven't seen it, but I heard some
Speed
people
Racer
like
is
Speed Racer.
good. They've never done anything again that was at that level of like, whoa.
It's interesting. Okay. I mean, it all depends on where they go with it, or she goes with it. It's interesting that it's only the one.
That is very interesting.
I wonder if the other
it's like Snow White 2 by Steve Grimm. Jeff Grimm is just not involved on this one.
I wonder if the other sister's just like not into filmmaking anymore, or just not interested in the project, or what.
I don't know.
Or tied up with something else.
Is it offensive of me that I'm more interested in their lives than The Matrix?
Yeah.
It is offensive.
No, it's
fascinating.
Really,
I mean, how often, I don't know what the number of this is, but how often are transgendered siblings? Is that a thing that happens a lot?
No, I don't.
I'm sure they're not the fucking first in the history of the world.
No, but it's definitely rare, especially since they are such.
And they works together.
Yeah, and they're pretty high profile. They're famous.
Right. When people talked about the original trilogy, they said that when you'd watch them direct, they would have nonverbal cues to one another, so it almost looked like they were reading each other's minds because they were so close. So, I'm just fascinated by it. Yeah.
It also, not to go too deep into this, but it also begs the question of like, some people say that, people like Caitlyn Jenner, people who have wealth, and status, it's much easier for them to transition. Yeah. So it makes you wonder, like, if they had never gotten that fame, would they have transitioned by this point?
Interesting.
Because it takes a lot of means to transition, I guess.
Right.
It's been said.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Let's see. What else is going on in the news? All right. Look, listen. I'm going to speak very briefly on the Spider-Man shit, okay? And it's because I don't want to waste so much time on this. I lean back in my chair like a Rush Limbaugh.
I thought you were going to talk about Bethenny leaving the Real Housewives.
We can talk about that in a second.
Turning my world upside down.
You can add that to the list. All right. I don't think it's happening. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this, but I think it's just Disney playing hardball. I think Disney said, okay, fine, we're not going to make Spider-Man movies to get the fan community to be upset and to put pressure on Sony, because I haven't been reading it.
What is Sony what are they holding out on?
Sony wants 50-50. Or Disney wants 50-50.
What does Sony want?
Sony wants, I don't know what percentage they want, but they feel like, well, we own Spider-Man.
Any title with Spider-Man, they want more money.
Yeah, because they own Spider-Man.
But Spider-Man's when you look at how many characters are Disney, there's like 20 characters and one of them is Spider-Man, so that doesn't really make sense.
So Spider-Man is the only, well, besides the X-Men, Spider-Man is the only Marvel character that Sony owns. So Sony, for the 2 Spider-Man movies that are just Spider-Man movies, Sony made a deal with Disney, and I guess Disney wants more money now, and Sony felt like well, we've got all the chips. We could just say we own Spider-Man, and then Disney called their bluff and was like, fine, we won't make any more Spider-Man movies. Have fun, reboot it again.
So this is my question, and you can educate me on this. So I thought when I first read this that all it meant was that there would be no Spider-Man in any future Avengers or crossover movies. So what you're saying is this also means that the whole Tom Holland, that whole series is dead now?
Right.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He wouldn't appear in any other crossovers, but his alone the second one, Far From Home, ended on a cliffhanger.
Oh, because it has the Marvel stamp on it.
Right, and it does have the Marvel Studios who were working on it.
Oh, well, now I feel bad for Tom Holland.
But I don't think it's going to happen. I think I even saw today, and I can't, this is not good research. As I say, I'm not a newsman. But I even saw today some headline about, like, maybe it won't happen.
I'm sure they'll come to some kind of deal.
I really think it's Disney playing hardball. I think it's Disney just going, you might own Spider-Man, but you really don't have...
But we own everything else, so you will submit to us.
Right. You were fucking going to make an Aunt May spinoff before we came in.
What?
Yeah. That was one of their plans.
With Academy Award winner Marissa Tomei?
No, this Marissa Tomei is part of the MCU. Okay. With, who was it? Oh, in The Amazing Spider-Man, it was Sally Field.
What was that going to be?
I have no fucking idea. They just didn't know what the fuck to do.
Aunt May.
And then they did Venom. Venom's not part of the MCU. And Venom has its charms, but anyway, I think it's going to be fine. I don't want to deal with it. Bethenny
Frankel.
What's happened with her?
Has announced she's leaving the Real Housewives of New York.
How do you do that, though?
What do you mean?
Like, do you just, like, not hang out with your friends?
They're not. A lot of them are not actually friends. They just film together.
So you're just not on the show anymore.
She's just not on the show
It's
anymore.
not really going to change her life.
Right, but it's going to change mine.
No, why? Why is that?
Because she's a real heavy hitter, Mike.
She's one of the best?
I'd argue she's probably one of the, if not the best.
What makes her the best?
She's just got an acid tongue. Mm-hmm. She is sharp as a tack.
Uh-huh.
No, she's just a really good character, and she's one of the OGs. She's been there since... she left for a little while, but she was one of the original ones from 2008 or 7. So,
what is she gonna do though?
I mean, she has Skinny Girl, and
what's that?
That's like the whole. That's how she's so rich, like Skinny Girl margaritas, and it's like a whole lifestyle brand.
Yeah, but she's not gonna get that sweet attention that she needs.
Well, yeah, that's. I don't know. Maybe she's got something else coming down the pike. Maybe she used to have a talk show. It got canceled though. Maybe she wants to.
Try that again?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I think she's trying to angle herself as like an Oprah.
Oh boy. When people do that, it doesn't work.
No.
There was only one Oprah.
It hasn't worked for Gwyneth, and she's been trying for years.
Oh God. She's Gwyneth is wants to be Oprah and wants to be Martha Stewart and is neither.
Neither. Yeah. And her website is Goop.
Yeah, which makes me think of semen.
Yeah. Me too. So anyway, that announcement came hot on the heels of the Spider-Man thing. So
shook.
Yeah,
the world is shook.
The world was shook,
and that's a definite.
That's a definite.
That's definitely happening. But you said she left before, so she could come back.
She left for like 3 seasons, so maybe she'll come back in a few years.
All right,
keeping it interesting.
Things gonna be okay.
She's going to be in the next Avengers.
She is going to play Aunt May.
Yeah.
So in the new live action remake, of course, of Lady and the Tramp, Disney did something really cute where they got a rescue dog from a shelter to play the tramp.
He's adorable.
His name is Monty. He's a cute shelter dog.
Yeah.
This is a stunt, I'm sure, but I think it's cute and it fits the character. The tramp is the sort of the one from the wrong side of the tracks.
He's a mutt.
Yeah, he's very cute. I think he looks good for the role.
He does. He's adorable. It made me wonder when I was reading that though. Like, gosh, I guess the dogs really don't have to do anything, huh?
What do you mean?
Because he's not like... There used to be like trained acting dogs.
Yeah.
He's just a dog. He's a normal dog. So I'm guessing the CGI is just where it's at.
They'll
now.
Just like make him do things?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with it. Especially after the uncanny valley that was The Lion King. I don't know if they're going to try to get them to move around more or what.
That's what I was thinking, because a lot of people are calling the new Lion King live action, which is, it's not. It's photorealistic CGI
to a fault.
Right. So I was thinking that they were going to do that same thing. Now I wonder if it's actually cheaper to use real animals, because this is not going to be a theatrical release. It's only going to be on streaming.
Oh, the Disney streaming.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks, I'm sure it'll be just fine, just like all the other live action remakes.
Yeah.
The one that looked pretty good, like the best of all of them, is Mulan, but now that there's a huge controversy.
Why? I haven't heard that controversy.
You haven't heard of this hashtag boycott Mulan thing?
Oh, why?
Because the actress who plays Mulan, there's a lot going on in Hong Kong right now, a lot of political unrest.
Yeah.
And she, on her social media, she tweeted, I think it was on Twitter, she put out that she supports the police, and then a lot of people are very unhappy with that, so they're like, we're not going to see Mulan.
Okay.
So
all right, let's see what else is in the news.
You have no interest in that.
I don't know, it reminds me of when people dug up Gal Gadot's tweets where she's very anti-Palestine, and
boycotting things doesn't work.
It's I don't know. And it's also do these dumb actors, do we have to care about their political views? They're dummies. They're actors. If they weren't dummies, they'd have real jobs. Am I right?
Oh my God, hot take.
Listen, do you need Gal Gadot's geopolitical ideas?
Gal Gadot.
You know what I mean? It is Gadot. It's not Gadot. She's not French. It's Gadot.
That sounds silly.
You know what I mean? Okay, so she's a fucking Islamophobe.
I didn't know that about her.
Well, at least she tweeted to that effect. Who gives a shit? Anyway.
I think that should be a new approach.
Who gives a
shit? Honestly,
just throw out the news. Just and this fucking shit. Speaking of who gives a shit, Kevin Smith.
Oh boy, he's the king of who gives a shit.
Yeah, he's the fucking mayor of who gives a shit town.
The best was when you said, sadly, Kevin Smith survived a heart attack. We almost had him.
God. So at PowerCon, you know what PowerCon is? It's the yearly convention for all things He-Man and She-Ra.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he was at PowerCon, and he surprise announced that he's doing a He-Man show, an animated series.
Aren't they doing one right now?
No, there's a She-Ra.
She-Ra,
one.
okay.
But here's the thing. She-Ra has been teasing He-Man in her show, but this isn't connected.
So there's going to be different.
But they're both Netflix shows, and they're both cartoons. But I think they're saying that the He-Man show, which is called what is it called?
The Kevin Smith He-Man show?
Yeah, it's called Masters Universe.
Oh, so it's this is a formal announcement, it's a fully formed idea.
Yeah, there's a poster for it and everything.
Wow.
They're saying it's got an anime style, which is not what the She-Ra show has.
Who could possibly give a shit?
I care. I like He-Man, and they're saying I guess in sort of a Halloween 2018 fashion, they're this is going to begin right at the end of the original He-Man series, so it's just going to keep going from there.
What's the target demo? Is it for adults, or
it's for me? It's for guys like me. It's for 30-year-old man children.
Is She-Ra like that, or is She-Ra
No,
more
She-Ra is much more
children?
lighthearted, and little kids like it.
Okay, that's good.
I haven't even seen the He-Man yet, but I'm sure She-Ra's going to be better. Because I think, I've said this before in the show, I think the current She-Ra show is the best anything Master Universe that there's been. It's just very, very good. So
who voices She-Ra? Anyone?
Oh, I'm not sure. No one like that you would really know.
Will Ben Affleck be voicing He-Man?
He-Man. I mean, look, they haven't said formally that it's not connected, but if the styles are so different,
it would be odd to make it connected.
But it also feels is there nobody talking to each other? Because it seems like the She-Ra people have been teasing He-Man, or at least He-Man's planet Eternia in the She-Ra show.
Just who gives a shit about Kevin Smith though is the thing.
Right, that's another thing. And also
that new Jay and Silent Bob movie looks god awful.
So sad. It's very, very sad.
Yeah.
And didn't we already have an announcement that he was doing an animated Howard the Duck series? What happened to that?
Yeah, I thought I heard that too.
Do less stuff, Kevin Smith. Anyway, so
this entire podcast is a hate crime against Kevin Smith.
I know he's gonna be like, I don't understand why these guys who make this podcast act like they're so nice and positive when all they do is shit on me constantly.
If in his next piece of shit movie he has two characters who are based on like you and Amelia.
Oh yeah, and oh god, who'd play us? I'm played by Josh Gad, and Emilio's played by even though he's like 61 years old,
Tony Danza.
He's played by Tony Danza.
And then at the end they find out that you guys are like lovers or something really homophobic,
right?
And
Because what's funnier than two men having sex? So
fuck Kevin Smith. Anyway,
absolutely. Disney finally announced something that we all have been wanting, and there's been rumors for years, that they are making an Obi-Wan Kenobi miniseries with Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I feel like he put in the work. He's one of the best parts of the prequels. He deserves this. Like, I feel like he signed up to be in Star Wars to be Obi-Wan, and he got those movies, and it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
And they all signed up for 3 movies, sight unseen. They're just like, from day one, you're going to make 3 movies. So I feel like he deserves this chance to, like, really have something meaty to bite into.
Who else is in it? Who else is attached?
Right now, there's no one else who's really attached.
Oh, okay.
And,
well, you mean like the director and screenwriters, they're attached for 3? Because you said they're all attached for 3 sight unseen.
No, I was talking about the prequels.
Oh, okay.
When Natalie Portman.
So this is a standalone. This isn't going to be a trilogy.
This is a like 6 or 8 episode series.
Oh, it's a miniseries. Okay, you're right.
It's on the Disney streaming service.
Oh,
it's a miniseries. So we don't know what it is. What people have been expecting is something that they've done a little bit in the comics, which is him on Tatooine, kind of protecting Luke from afar.
That would be cool. I'd like to see that.
You've seen a little bit of that in also the Rebels series. There's a really good episode of Rebels where what do you call it? He fights Darth Maul again and he kills him. And that's the episode that ends with you see like a little kid Luke. And it's very touching.
That sounds really good. I like the idea that I like the fact that it's something new that is kind of connecting the new Star Wars stuff to the prequels, because I feel like they've kind of really avoided any nods to the prequels. There's
very little things, like Hugh McGregor did some voiceover for Rey's vision in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, I remember that. That was like a Easter egg almost.
Yeah, basically. Well, since we're on Star Wars news and we're talking about connecting things, Don Williams, the brother of John Williams, and he's a musician, he's a percussionist, and he works with his brother. He said recently, he opened his loose lips, and Don Williams said that they've been recording the score to Rise of Skywalker, and that every Star Wars theme that's ever been written will appear in it.
Okay.
And the rumor is that there's a big fight at the end between Kylo Ren and Rey, and you're gonna hear Duel of Fates, the da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
That's from the prequels, isn't it?
Well, yeah, we first hear it when Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Darth Maul are fighting in Episode 1, and then you hear it again.
That's
the and then you hear it again in Episode 3 when Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting.
That's you are the chosen one.
Yeah. So,
from my point of view, it is the Jedi who are evil.
Yeah. So I like the idea of hearing, I like the idea of, because it says, it gives you a hint on what could happen narratively if every theme comes back in. Because I'm thinking Yub-Nub. Is there going to be some Yub-Nub?
I don't know.
Because if you know me, you know I love me some Ewoks.
But they took The Yub-Nub was edited out of the 97.
Yeah, but I think
edits.
what if just as a fuck you to George Lucas, episode 9 ends with Yub-Nub? Just like they
Instead
just
of the
do it again.
It's just the credits come up and it's
No, it's not that. But it's just like, they defeat the First Order. Kylo Ren is either dead or good now, and
then
just
the
like
Ewoks show up.
Bum, 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 bum,
Listen.
Yub-Nub, unga, Yub-Nub.
The Ewoks are adorable. I don't hate on the Ewoks.
I love fucking Ewoks. There's an Ewok character in one of these books, and it's like it's a hacker, which I think is a weird choice because apparently after the Battle of Endor, a lot of Ewoks, basically their peace was disrupted, and now they're out in the world. I don't know. They don't know what they're doing with Ewoks because there's another book that says that Ewoks are sometimes given to you as therapy companions.
Well, they kind of look like dogs.
Yeah,
I mean, I think they're based on dogs.
There's one in this book that is a hacker. It's like, how are you a hacker? How do you go from like living in tree houses to you're a computer expert?
The saddest part of Jedi is that during that big battle, when you see a bunch of them die,
yeah,
it's so sad.
This book I'm talking about is called Last Shot. It's a Han Solo Lando book.
Okay.
There's also an interesting scene in that where there's a Gungan, and Han Solo's like, I know how to talk to these people, and he's like, listen, Misa needs to, and the Gungan's like, whoa, stop with the Misas and Yusas. That's offensive.
That's really funny.
Yeah, so it's fun shit.
God, they're just always shitting on George Lucas.
Well, I've talked about this on the show, but do you know the official canon? What happens to Jar Jar?
He died, right?
No, he becomes a beggar who just sort of hangs around and juggles for change.
That is so tragic.
Yeah, there's this weird
Didn't he become a senator?
Yes, he was a senator at one point. He falls very far.
Wow.
There's a trilogy of books that are really not books. They're just vignettes of things that happened between the first trilogy and the new trilogy, and one of them is just where Jar Jar is.
That's
and it's
so sad.
Just very sad. It's a very sad story. Let's go. I know.
That's really sad.
It's a bummer. I mean, it's not that bad, guys. Let's go to Trailer Corner.
Okay.
So the trailers we watched for today were Last Christmas.
Yep.
Dolomite Is My Name, and Bombshell. Which would you like to address first?
Let's start with Last Christmas, I guess.
Last Christmas. I've seen this trailer a lot. And I think it looks charming. I think I'm very charmed by Emilia Clarke. I find her very pretty. I like her face. I like her.
I like her face.
Creepy things creep say. I like her face. No, you know what I'm thinking when I say I like her face? Her face doing a big condescending smile has become a meme.
Oh yeah.
So I think of that smile.
Well, I love Henry Golding. He's a dreamboat. He's charming.
Which one is he?
He's the guy.
Oh, he's the dude.
He's from Crazy Rich Asians.
So is her boss in the Elf Shop.
That's true.
Yeah, it's directed by Paul Feig, and
looks shot on location in England though.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be released theatrically or not. If it's going to go to Netflix or not, because I think it's a Netflix movie. But I'm not sure. But also is that new Martin Scorsese movie, The Irishman, is a Netflix movie, and I think that's going to be theatrically released because they want to be able to win Oscars for it.
Who can tell? It's harder than ever to tell when something's, because they're all the same quality now.
Yeah, there's no I remember when TV movies were
you could tell.
It's a TV movie. What garbage.
It's crazy when you look up a Netflix show and then on Wikipedia, whatever, it says web series, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you're like, oh, I guess.
Yeah,
you never even think of it that way, but they still categorize them as that.
When I think
Fleabag, I just watched all of Fleabag.
Yeah,
and I looked it up, and it was Fleabag is a web series from the UK, or is on the BBC. But
I think of Homestar Runner when you say web series.
I know. I always think of something that
emails.
Nobody watches and is
Yeah. In segment 2, we got to talk about Fleabag.
Sure.
We're burying the lead, which is Last Christmas is inspired and features the music of George Michael.
Well, that was what caught me off guard from the trailer, because I knew that Last Christmas was the song, so I was waiting for the song to come.
Right.
And then then Freedom 90 starts playing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't make the connection mentally that they're both George Michael.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it's like featuring the music of George Michael. And then I was like, holy shit. And then for a second, I was like, is this a musical of all George Michael songs?
Yeah.
But it's not.
No,
it would be cool if it was. It'd be a cool
this is
premise
very
for
popular right now. You had Yesterday, which was all Beatles music.
Yeah.
You had Blinded by the Light, that was all Bruce Springsteen music.
Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. Wasn't great. I'll talk about it later.
Okay.
There's plenty to talk about. I think it looks really charming. I like a Christmas movie. I like her as a mess. I really like her. I'm not a Game of Thrones fan, but I loved her in Terminator Genesis. I think she was a great Sarah Connor. I like her in Solo.
Well, she's supposed to be like a down on her luck woman who's working as an elf in a Christmas store.
Right, but she survived.
Which you don't find out till like the last
an illness
minute of the trailer. The trailer itself was odd, I thought, a little bit.
Yeah.
It was kind of like one of those trailers where it's like I feel like I've watched the entire movie.
Yeah. She's got a kind of Fleabag thing because she's English and she's really hot, but she's a mess because
I was thinking
something bad happened to her in the past.
It was like a mashup to me of like Fleabag and Santaland Diaries by David Sedaris.
Okay.
And a little elf because she sings.
Yeah, there's definitely some elf in there.
It looks
because you see her a lot in her elf costume.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks entertaining and joyous.
You know why I think it's going to be a good movie, Anthony?
Why?
Because you got to have faith.
Oh boy,
this is the kind of comedy you get here on this free podcast.
Yikes.
Pop Culture Man Chill, and available anywhere podcasts are available. Subscribe today.
Oh, the Emma Thompson is the mom.
Yeah,
she looks really good. She looks like she gives a great performance.
I like that.
I always like her.
Yeah, I like that bit when the doctor's like, "Have you been? Have you been drinking?" And she's like, Emil Clark's like, "No," and then Thompson's like, "She drank like the pirate."
Yeah.
So it looks good. It looks charming. That guy's hot. She's hot.
Yeah, they're a hot couple.
I mean, I think the charm of romantic comedies are when you like to see hot people kissing, right?
I like the fact that romantic comedies are having a bit of a resurgence in quality.
But they're all Netflix now.
Right. But I've also heard, not to take us off topic, I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard really great things about the new Mindy Kaling version of Four Weddings and a Funeral.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
That's gotten like all great reviews.
Is that a series or a movie?
It's a limited series. But it's got some of the people from the original. I think it's like a sequel series.
In the same universe?
Yeah, because Andy McDowell's in the trailer.
I don't think I've ever seen the original.
I saw it years ago. But
Four Weddings.
It's got great reviews. But anyway, yeah, like I feel like there's been a resurgence of like good romantic comedies. Because, like romantic comedies get a bad rap, but like when you think back, some of the greatest movies of all time, like When Harry Met Sally, Annie Hall, like those are technically romantic comedies.
Right. The African Queen is kind of a romantic comedy. Yeah. Bringing Up Baby.
Philadelphia Story.
Yeah. I mean, what's, to quote Paul McCartney, well, fuck.
That's a great quote.
I'm a fucking idiot. I'm going to have to cut all this out.
Leave it in. This is the good stuff.
What's so wrong with silly love songs?
Good,
you know what I mean?
good.
Like people are like, shit. It's like, what? No, it's fun. It's nice. I remember one time I was talking to a friend of mine about YA novels, and I was like I was kind of like being apologetic for the fact that I read so many as a man in his 30s.
They're so much more readable than adult literary
fiction.
fiction.
And my friend was like, they're fun, they're cute, and they make you feel things. So
and a lot of them are way smarter than they get credit for.
So what's wrong with that? I'd like to know, because here I go again. So I'm what was I going to say? Fuck, there was another one, a Netflix one that I liked, the one with Ali Wong.
Oh, Always Be My Baby.
I
haven't watched that yet.
I thought that was very cute. All right, so let's talk about Bombshell. It's an interesting trailer in that it's all nuance.
Nothing is. I loved it. I thought it was an amazing trailer.
It's an artful trailer.
It is. It's also just like these three women are incredible, and them standing there just looking at each other,
Right,
with
these
the
great
atmosphere and like just no dialogue is
Yeah.
enough to make you be like, I want to see that movie.
You've got Charlize Theron as Megyn Kelly.
I was just gonna say, it's so funny. I feel like that seems like a choice on her part to
look
be
exactly
like, I
like
want to
her.
look at. I feel like, well, she did. She does that.
Yeah,
Charlize.
that's
so
true.
She's like nearly unrecognizable.
I didn't recognize her at first. I
Yeah.
was like, wow, that looks a lot like
Megyn Kelly.
Yeah.
But it's just I mean, they just are all incredible actresses, and it's
Right.
just the only line that's said is "It's hot in here."
Yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah. You've got what's her face?
Margot Robbie
She's
and
playing
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. Well, Margot Robbie's playing not a real person, but a sort of amalgam of real people.
Right.
So she's got a fictional name.
Who is Nicole Kidman playing?
Gretchen Carlson.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The what do you call it?
Roger
Ailes, the head of Fox News, was being a creep and sexually harassing people, and these women sort of brought him down by
I can't
speaking
wait
up.
to see the real Fox News rip this movie apart.
Or not mention it at all ever. Directed by Jay Roach, who directed the Austin Powers movies.
Okay.
Typically a comedy director.
What has he done more recently, though?
Let's see on his IMDb. Let's see. No, that's producer. He produces a lot of shit. Director. Oh, he directed Trumbo, which was also a serious movie. That's
Okay.
about Dalton Trumbo.
Okay, yeah.
The Campaign, starring Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis.
Ooh, boy.
Game Change, which was the movie about Sarah Palin.
Oh, that was good.
I guess he does.
It's pretty hit or miss.
Yeah. He does political
Jennifer
things. I guess.
Schmucks, I'm
That's
seeing.
a terrible,
Oh my God, that's
a terrible
horrible.
one. Recount. So he does political stuff.
But it seems like only his political stuff is good.
Meet the
Fockers.
Fockers.
Oh boy, that's terrible.
Meet the Parents.
Meet the Parents is okay.
Or the Austin Powers movies. So
He's got an interesting catalog.
yeah. It's interesting that they made the trailer what it is. You know, like there's very little happening, but there's just looks and glances.
Well, I like that it promotes an air of mystery
Yeah.
and suspense and tension and
Right.
you know.
I imagine, or the way I read it is the Margot Robbie character has just been assaulted because she walks into the elevator and like goes to like hit a button, but then she sort of like pulls her hand back like she's, I don't know, like she's like shooken by something. And then the other women come in. So the last trailer is Dolomite Is My Name, which is something I didn't know about, which is the guy who made it's a true story based on the gentleman who made the blaxploitation film Dolomite. He like created Dolomite as a persona
Right.
and like acted as him even before the movie. And it's Eddie Murphy playing that guy. I talked to Janine about the trailer, and she said she put it perfectly, where she was like, "Wow, you forget good Eddie Murphy. You forget when he can be
Right.
like amazing."
Right.
Just in this trailer, it looks really good. He looks really good. It looks like a good movie.
I think he's one of those actors who's been around forever. He's been chasing that Oscar forever.
But he
the-
got one. Didn't he get one for Dreamgirls?
No, I think he might have been nominated. He definitely didn't get it because Dreamgirls was like going to be his big comeback, and
Yeah.
and everybody was like, "Oh my God, we remember he's great." But then it was the same year as Norbert, and then people were like, "Oh, forget Eddie Murphy again."
That sucks.
So yeah, he is really good.
is great.
He's an interesting, just Eddie Murphy in himself. He's an interesting.
I remember he did a
Person.
review, not a review. I remember he did an interview around the time of the Oscar, and he was saying like some reviewer was reviewing Dreamgirls, and he talks about the subtlety in what I do, and I thought like I've been in movies where I play 7 characters in one scene. That's way harder than me just giving a subtle look.
Right.
So he seems to be slightly like resentful of people not taking him seriously.
He didn't win the. Sorry, I just looked it up. He won the Golden Globe, but he did not win the Academy Award.
He recently was on an episode of Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, and it's 40 minutes compared to usually that show is like 15 minutes.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. There was just recently. Did you see there was a little bit of drama with Titus Burgess is in it? In the Dolomite movie, and then Titus Burgess was on Watch What Happens Live and got snippy with Andy Cohen. Did you see that over Eddie Murphy?
Oh yeah, Andy Cohen asked him like how is it to work with him, knowing that he has a history of doing very homophobic material?
And basically, Titus Burgess was like, he came to Eddie Murphy's defense,
Right.
and then later on was just like,
I'm not my character.
I think he said something like that, and then he also said like Eddie Murphy's apologized for that stuff for like the last 20 years. So to bring it up is to he basically took it as like an aggressive move, basically being like, this is a movie that I'm in, and you're trying to like mess with my livelihood because you know that this guy's the star of it, and you're gonna try to get me on TV to say something negative.
But isn't
about him.
that what that talk show is?
Yeah, he tries to do shit like that.
So,
But Titus did not respond well to it.
is Titus Burgess gay?
Yeah, he is.
So, because when I read that he was like, I'm not my character, I was like, what does that mean?
No, Titus Burgess is gay, but I think he was saying like, I don't know about the I'm not my character stuff. But from what I read, he was basically like saying Andy Cohen was being messy, meaning like looking for drama.
Yeah,
and,
it's the Andy Cohen. Like,
right.
Doesn't he have a segment where he asks you 5 questions and you cannot answer one?
Exactly. So a lot of people came to Andy Cohen's defense, saying like that's the kind of show it is, but then other people were behind Titus saying like, this is one of his first big movies, and you're going to try to make him say something negative about the star of it on TV. That was like mean-spirited or whatever. I don't know. It's just interesting because Eddie Murphy does have that past of having such homophobic material.
And I think that's what kept him from doing a comeback.
Yes, because people always think that it's so easy to find that stuff.
But he has apologized.
He has, for a long time.
And I think he's a good person. I think there was a time where he was so famous. I mean, not to get like super like academic about this, but very, very famous African Americans, especially like in the 80s and 90s, the media would almost treat them as other and alien, like Michael Jackson, which, you know, we know that he was a weird guy, but a lot of that was just like marginalizing him.
Right.
And then you heard weird stories about Eddie Murphy, like he sits in a dark office and he doesn't talk to you. Like you hear weird shit about it. Same thing with like, oh God, I don't know. So I don't know. There's
Richard
a lot of
Pryor.
weird
Wasn't there a lot of mythology around that?
Right.
Pryor too?
Yeah, right. So I don't know. I feel like he's good. He's done bad movies for sure.
Yeah, but he's also done great movies.
And he's a good actor.
He is. He's a really good actor.
And he's in great shape. He doesn't look like when you see his movies when he was young, what you notice that he's much like more slight. He's very thin. But really from like 1995 to now, he's looked exactly the same, which is like more muscular and built.
Yeah. You know, I always say one of the most underrated movies I've ever seen is Tower Heist.
Yeah.
And it's really funny, and he's really, really funny in it.
I saw that on a plane.
Did you enjoy it? It's an enjoyable movie.
I don't know if I paid attention to it that much.
I like it. I feel like it's just like a 90s romp that just came out in the wrong decade. Like, I feel like it would have been a huge hit if it came out in like 1995.
Wasn't it a hit, though?
It was like I'm sure it was like box office-wise a hit, but it's definitely not remembered.
I think that America... Here's what happened.
I love a heist movie. What can I say?
I know you do. I think that America could not accept Alan Alda as a villain. And I think that's why that movie...
Alan Alda also... on The West Wing, Alan Alda played like the Republican... Not that you're a villain if you're a Republican, but he plays that type a lot. Like he plays against his...
But he also plays like
type.
The super nicest guy in the world a lot as well, too.
Yeah. But anyway...
Well, that's kind of like... Do you watch Barry?
No.
Henry Winkler's in Barry, and he kind of plays against type as sort of a little bit of an asshole.
Isn't Fonzie an asshole, though?
No, Fonzie's the coolest guy.
In the early
ever.
seasons,
in the early seasons, he's like a bully, but then once he's on Lunchboxes,
see, when I think like Henry Winkler playing against type would be like playing like an uncool,
but he's been doing that
guy
for so long.
Yeah, I guess when he was the principal in Scream, that was kind of like
that was kind of against type.
Yeah,
and then I always forget that he's in Scream.
He was his death was added because they felt that there was too
there wasn't a death.
Yeah, for a number of minutes, or something.
Yeah. His death makes no sense too, because he's stabbed in his office, but then like they put him up on like
you could tell that it was added later.
Yeah. So
and he's killed for no reason. Also,
like there's no
the other
like why would he
killed for a reason?
Like why kill the principal?
Right. Yeah. But anyway, Dolomite does look really good. I feel like I got some education out of it too because I didn't really know anything.
Me neither. I went back and watched the trailer, the original trailer to the actual Dolomite movie, and it is ridiculous. It's like he's a pimp.
Is it like porny? at all?
Well, it's
there's sex in it, right?
Yeah, it's exploitation. He's a pimp, so there's
like
sex workers in it. But these sex workers also know kung fu.
Right, it's like one of those. It's like one of those 70s blaxploitation movies, right?
It's like Shaft or The Mac or whatever, like those types of movies.
But it was like wasn't it kind of like supposed to be like a low budget, like derivative of Shaft type movie?
Well, in the trailer, the Eddie Murphy trailer, like they show behind the scenes, and he's like, "Is it as good as Shaft?"
And Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, he's in it.
Back. I mean, he's been out of the game for a while, right?
And I like the part in the trailer where we see the larger African American woman, and she's like, "Thank you for putting me in this movie.
Yeah.
I usually don't see someone like myself up on the screen."
Yeah.
For if you told me, "Hey, they're making a movie. It's got Eddie Murphy in it, and it's about Dolomite," I would have been like, well, none of that is interesting to me. And watching the trailer, I was just like, wow, this looks kind of incredible.
Yeah, I agree. I think it looked really good. It looks really good.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back with the chill session. We'll talk about... I've seen a lot of shit lately. You've seen some shit. We'll talk about some shit.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back to Pop Culture Man Children PCMC. I'm here with Anthony Bongiorno.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm great.
Brother mine.
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm very tired right now, but
drink that coffee. Drink up.
I've been drinking.
You've been drinking?
I've been drinking. So this is Chill Sesh. This is where we talk about just stuff we've seen recently.
You used to do chill sesh differently. You used to say like
chill sesh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
The show's evolved.
Yeah, it has. There's less stupid sound effects and shit now. What you want to talk about Fleabag? You just binged it all?
Binged it all. I have a new puppy.
Yeah.
Everybody knows.
How's this involved? But okay.
Because I've been. Well, anyway, I watched. No, because I've spent a lot of time with. She's not allowed to go outside yet because she's too young. So I've spent a lot of time, almost like having a baby. I've spent a lot of time inside this summer, and so I've been doing a lot of like binging of shows while I like watch her.
Yeah. And
spend time with her. So I watched all in 2 days. I watched all of Fleabag.
Wow, that's quite an emotional journey.
It is, but it's the episodes are so quick. I literally one morning was like, oh, I'm going to try this show out. And then a few hours passed and I was like, oh, I'm done with the first season.
All right. Let's give a spoiler alert for Fleabag.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. What? So at the end of we know through season 1 that like her friend Boo died, and one of the reasons she seems very unhinged is that her friend dies, and then we find out, I think in the very last episode, that she slept with her friend's boyfriend, and
who we had seen earlier. She waved to him,
and Boo, her best friend, who was her everything and really more of a sister to her than her actual sister, dies of suicide,
trying to get him back, I think.
Or she betrays her friend in the most ultimate way, and then her friend dies.
Right.
And you kind of like, it makes you, that's in the last episode, and then it makes you think about the whole first season again of like, wow, that was always the thing she was dealing with.
Right. Well, because there were lots of flashbacks to Boo, and then you found out that she was dead.
So you're like, oh, she's sad because her friend's dead.
And then you find out that she feels responsible for the death. I was left wondering, did Boo know that it was her who he slept with?
I think so.
Because they show a flashback where she's like, he slept with someone.
Oh, I don't remember. But then
they cut away from it, and then they show that thing a lot of her walking into the street. Yeah. That's that one shot. Which I imagine that's her imagining it because she wasn't there to see it, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I was left wondering, did she tell her that it was her, or did she let her think that it was another woman and then she committed suicide before she could tell her?
Huh. God, you watched it more recently than I, so I don't remember.
I also, maybe this is just me, I felt like I was expecting there to be some exploration of like there was a sexual relationship between her and Boo.
Well, she's
bi.
Bi, right.
And they showed like they kept cutting to her like opening pants.
Right, and then ended up being
him, but I thought it was going to be her.
Okay.
That like they had a sexual tryst.
Yeah,
and
the
then
first season is a sort of like mystery
it
that's
is.
unfolding.
It's really interesting because it's like a comedy / drama / mystery. It's really, really like defies genre.
And here's how stupid I am. Watching the whole first season, I didn't realize that they never say the character's name.
She's Fleabag.
So she is Fleabag.
They don't. There's a few characters they don't say the name of.
Really?
Yeah, her sister has a name,
Claire.
but the priest doesn't have a name. He's just the priest.
Hot priest, yeah.
She doesn't have a name. Mom and dad don't have names. There are a few. I was talking. Our dad binged it. And
he likes
I was
it.
texting him about it, and he said to me, like, did you notice there are a lot of characters with no name?
That's very interesting.
The guy with the teeth is just, he's just like, a bus rat, bus rodent, subway rodent or something. There are a lot of characters with no names. Yeah. I felt bad for that guy.
Season one also ends with my personal hero, Brett Gelman.
You know what's funny? I was watching it, remembering you talking on the podcast about how he's so underrated, and he was like your favorite of the week, like your obsession. And then I was like, "What a piece of shit this guy is!"
But he's acting.
I know he always plays a scumbag. I feel like
but he soliloquy in the last episode of season 2, I think is really amazing because he admits to be. He's like, I'm a shitty person. Some people are just shitty,
and he's like, she was the best part of my life.
Yeah,
she made me better. I felt like that was kind of redeeming for him.
And he's an alcoholic, and he kisses Fleabag.
But I think he thought that they had a bond of like, we're both shitty together.
Yeah,
because they were like friends before he did that. Remember, like they went shopping together.
But they still he still was like constantly criticizing her.
Yeah, I love the stepson. Where's Claire?
Oh yeah. My son's creepy as fuck. He plays the bassoon. That's the creepiest instrument.
The flashback of him trying to get into the bathtub with her, and she's like, no.
I like in season 2 when he's like, tell her to leave him.
We're jumping all over the place, but it's a great and I like that season 1 had that arc about Boo, and then season 2
also ends with, she finally tells her sister, your husband kissed me, and the sister says, I don't believe you, look what you did to Boo. And that's like the real stab her in the heart. And that's how season 1 ends. Like Fleabag is in like the worst possible emotional place, and season 2 I think ends in a very happy. It does. Both seasons together make a nice arc,
and it's interesting though. Then the second season, like the whole arc is about the priest, and there's a lot of talk of religion, and
we find out that the statue that she stole was based on her mother's body.
Yeah, that was the nice.
That was moment. Yeah.
I loved at the very last moment of season 2 when because the priest is the first character to be like, what are you doing? You keep looking over there. Like, why you're leaving for a second. And it makes you realize like the time she's looking at the camera is like she's disassociating because she's like,
he's like,
going through something.
And he'll look at the camera too.
And I like that in the last moment of season 2. It's very subtle. I don't know if you noticed. You probably did. She goes to get up and walk away, and the camera goes to go with her, and then she turns around and shakes her head at the camera, and the camera stops, and then she walks away on her own.
I don't know if I did notice
that. So it's like the camera we were gonna follow her, and then she looks at the camera and goes like, no, like, so I guess I'm good to be on my own. And then she walks away. She said there's not gonna be a season 3.
Well, I love that. I love when she's in the therapist's office in season 2, and she refers to us as her like friend, because she says like, is there anyone you talk to? And then she looks at the camera and winks, like we're her confidant.
Her looks at the camera is so funny.
Oh, she's iconic sometimes. Just like, and I love when she'll like do a running commentary like, this is gonna happen. Watch this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is gonna be good. Like, I love that.
Like that character in season 2, his name is just Hot Misogynist. And he's like, I'm very good at sex. And she's like, he's not going to be good at it. And then it just cuts to them having sex. She's like, he's amazing at it.
Yeah.
And then in the next scene, she's like, seriously, I came like 9 times.
Yeah. Well, the whole series begins with that amazing thing of her explaining the date and then having anal sex, and then just like, and you think to yourself, do I have a giant asshole? And that's the opening of the show. She's amazing.
That guy's not on season 2. Season 1 and season 2 are interesting because they like stand on their own, but yet they tell
the
one
story
whole
between the sisters, and also the father,
and the stepmother is amazing. Olivia Colman.
Yeah, did she win the Oscar
for The Favorite? Yeah, she's so good.
She's so great in like being very passive
Insufferable.
aggressive, but like very like emphasis on aggressive.
Yeah.
I love in the end of season 2 when her dad, like, she thinks her dad's running away, and she's like, "Listen, everyone will understand." And he's like, "Everyone will understand."
He's like, "I'm stuck because my foot is stuck here." She thinks he doesn't want to go through with the wedding.
Everyone will understand. But she's kind of right too. It's funny, she sees the worst in people, but sometimes she's right. Like, remember at the mother's funeral, she says, like, "Look how shameless she is," to the stepmother. And then her sister's like, "Not everyone's always thinking about cock."
The sister's great.
Claire, and then she falls in love with a Swedish man named Claire.
No, I love one of the funniest like bits of dialogue was when she's like, "Go get him," and she's like, "Go to the airport. Oh, how am I going to get through security?" Like, that's a logistical nightmare.
Yeah,
which
true.
is just so making fun of like that trope of people running to the airport. Mm-hmm. She's like, and even if I got there, he'd be on the plane by the time I got there. Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, that's a funny send up of like that.
And
trope.
it just like it keeps going, and she's like, all right, fine.
Well, that's like there's a funny moment in the Goldbergs where Barry goes to the airport to stop Lainey Lewis, the love of his life, and he parks right in front of the airport. And the cop is like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm running after a woman I love." And the cop goes, "Okay, son, that's how the world works." I really like that it ends with the two sisters repairing their bond and leaning on one another. Like when she wants Fleabag to be there when she leaves her husband, and the husband's like, "Can you give us some privacy?" And then she's like, "No." So like they're stronger together.
And you get the sense too that it ends with her kind of forgiving herself.
Yeah.
For a lot.
Yeah.
It really is kind of like an examination of like a crisis in someone's life,
but it's
from beginning to end.
But the religion in season 2 is really interesting.
It is really interesting because it's the last place you'd think it would go.
Right, and then she does fuck the priest,
but then he chooses God over her.
Yeah,
which is interesting because like I've read a lot about it, and there's all the there's this question of like, is he a good priest or not? Which is because in a way I think he is a good priest.
He fights temptation a lot at first, but then he starts drinking. And she's really throwing herself at him.
Yeah.
And at first he's like, "We're not gonna have sex."
Yeah.
And
then that scene is so shocking when they do it. Like they just like they're in the confessional booth and they start making out.
What about that weird scene where they go to that place where it's like everyone's silent?
Yes.
And then like you could stand up and say whatever you think.
Yeah.
That was odd, but poignant.
It was interesting.
Is he a good priest? That's interesting. In the end, he says. In the priesthood, and then she said he said, "I have this feeling that's overwhelming me," and she said, "For me or for God?" And he said, "I don't know." And then at the end she said it was for God, wasn't it? Yeah, he chooses God.
Yeah.
And he tells her, "Don't come back."
Yeah.
He's, by the way, an amazing actor.
He is.
He plays Moriarty in
Sherlock, right?
Yeah, in the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock. And he's great as Moriarty. He's like explosive and crazy. And that Moriarty is gay.
He's gay in real life.
Oh, is it gay in real life? Interesting. Because I feel like they're very hot together. So he's a very good actor. They're hot.
Yeah, I think he's gay. No, I'm positive he's gay. He might be married even.
She's great. She's great in Solo.
What's shocking to me about her is that she's also like a showrunner. She was a showrunner of Killing Eve.
Oh yeah, she does a lot of stuff.
Really weird because it's so different from Fleabag.
I've never watched Killing Eve.
Neither have I, but it's not. I mean, I don't think it's anything like Fleabag.
Yeah. I saw Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
I was going to ask you about that. I could tell by your face you didn't like it.
Boy.
It looks like to me, as someone who didn't see it, it looks like just a retread of the Goosebumps movie plot.
Yes. It is exactly
scarier.
The Goosebumps movie plot. They find a book and the stuff in the book comes out.
But what bothers me about that is that in both the Goosebumps movie and this movie, the book itself looks like this old, antiquated hardcover book. And it's like, why wouldn't you make it look like the actual book that everyone knows and loves? Because those two are iconic. The Goosebumps cover and the Scary Stories cover.
Right, but
it sets it in an alternate universe where those books don't exist.
In the Goosebumps movie, Jack Black plays R.L. Stine.
No, I know, but
in Scary Stories, Scary Story. Scary Stories, it makes it that they're written by this woman who was like, we think she's evil, but she was marginalized in her, it's the movie's trying to say certain things, but it's like the power of folklore is that it travels mimetically through a culture. Like every story in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is folklore, so it's coming from like, oh, my cousin's sister said this really happened to her friend that she went to college with. So to have all of the stories written by a fictional character in the movie takes all the power away from folklore.
So I was going to say, in the world of the movie, is there that element of like, oh, I heard that happened to my cousin's friend. Oh, like,
there is that very, very little bit of it. Very, very little bit
all
of it.
Like you said, all of those stories and Scary Stories to tell in the dark are folkloric,
right? And
there's even a version, I think, in one of them of the babysitter story.
Yes, but but this is what I'm hitting on. They make it also like a slasher movie because once they get the book, the teenagers start dying, and what kills them is monsters from stories. So because of that, the movie can only focus on stories that have monsters in it. So the babysitter, you can't use that. The story that I love of the person's being followed by a car, and the car behind them keeps flashing their headlights, and they think that person's threatening them, but they're saying, actually, no, I was trying to save you. There's someone in your back seat. That stuff can't be in it because it can only be monsters.
Itself in urban legends,
right? So,
and the babysitter story really inspired Halloween too.
Yes,
that just goes to show that these are stories that have been around forever.
Right, exactly. And
my favorite.
What's the other one with the one from Taxi? A Stranger Calls. Is that what it's called?
That was, the original one was the woman from Taxi,
Yeah.
When a Stranger Calls.
When a Stranger Calls,
the calls coming from inside the house, yeah.
I mean...
my favorite scary story to tell in the dark was the one where they get the Mexican dog.
Yeah.
And then they're like, this is a rat with rabies.
That's mentioned as a throwaway joke, like Easter egg. Here's the thing. And, I always say you shouldn't judge a movie for what it isn't. You should judge it for what it is. And for what it is, it got good reviews, and I could see younger people liking it. It's beautiful looking.
Are the monsters based on the original illustrations?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's
And
cool.
it takes place in the 60s, which gives it a real, like, Americana Halloween type of feel.
That's interesting.
And that's definitely... what do you call it? Guillermo del Toro putting his money into it,
right?
Because whenever with movie production, whenever you set it in the past, you're just adding so much more money to it.
I remember that from Project Greenlight.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? He wanted it to be set in the 70s, and they were like, "Listen, we don't have the budget for that. Like, you got to make it present day." It's
oddly, and this is interesting, but also a little bit they lean on it way too much. Is while the story's going on, Nixon is running for president and like being elected, because it begins on Halloween and then it ends on November 2nd, I guess, when Nixon is elected. Okay. So which is like, you're saying something.
You're not sure what you're saying.
You're saying something about America, but I don't know what. Oh God. All right. So anyway, going back to what I was saying about you shouldn't hate a movie for what it isn't. The cardinal sin of this movie is it should be an anthology. It should be like the ABCs of Death or Creepshow. It should be a bunch of little vignettes.
That's what it should. Yeah, you're right.
That's what it should have been. But those
movies don't do well.
There hasn't been a good. I mean, there's been good ones. Like I think the VHS movies are really good, but those are very small. There hasn't been a mainstream anthology movie in years.
Well, I think the last one I can remember that was semi-successful was Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
But even that was like, I think like 2010 or something. That was a long time ago now.
Even the Tales from the Crypt movies from the 90s weren't anthology movies. They were just long stories.
Yeah.
So from the decision that this has to not be an anthology movie backwards, it fails. Like there's a lot of interesting things in it. There's a lot of interesting acting in it. It's kind of hard R. There's a lot of violence and cursing.
Is it R-rated? No.
I don't know if it is or not, but there's cursing and violence. It got that tone of this is for kids, but also inappropriate, like the books.
Yeah.
But at the same time, making it this story about they go to a haunted house, find a haunted book, and then stuff comes out of the book.
Cliche. It's so overdone.
It's just not right. I mean, it should have been like I think the ABCs of Death is really good because they're very short.
Yes.
And some of these are very short. One of the only moments that I really liked is there's a jewelry box and it plays that song from the book, like when a hearse goes by, you may be the next to die.
Oh my god, yeah, that's terrifying.
So that's a really nice like Easter egg for the fans. But in a certain sense, I don't know if this is for the fans of the original books.
Did Scholastic have anything to do with this movie?
I have no idea.
Probably not, or else it would have been a kids' movie.
Yeah. And even though the monsters look a lot like the illustrations, it's kind of like when I was talking to Janine about that the Watcher movie was so faithful to the illustrations that it was unfaithful because they were recreating the illustrations, but the illustrations work in the medium. Like the illustrations in the Scary Stories book work in that medium of like ink on paper.
Right.
Whereas like taking that and making it into a puppet, like it just doesn't look right.
Yeah, because there was a certain level of abstraction.
Yeah, and it also I don't think fits the rest of the aesthetic. But you know, I love Halloween, and it's the whole opening act is great. Like the whole opening act where you go around the town and you see it's the '60s and it's Halloween and there's leaves, and it's all orange and autumnal, and you hear a really cool version of Season of the Witch.
That's cool.
That was like I was on board for that, and then like as it went on, I cared less and less about it.
It sounds like one of those movies. I feel like there are many different types of bad movies.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is there are some movies that I feel like have a lot of bad in them, but they're worth more than the sum of their parts. And then this sounds like the opposite case.
Worth less than the sum of their parts.
Yeah, where like there's some really great stuff in it, but it just couldn't save the whole thing.
Yes, I agree. But I can see someone who's like 15, 16 loving it. And I think when I was 15 or 16, I probably would have loved it.
Especially as a fan of the book.
Well, it's so special to me. Like, I've already done an episode of this podcast based on it because it's the first book I read on my own. It's the first time I bought a book and read it.
Did you buy it at the
to myself.
Classic Book Fair?
Oh, fuck yeah, I did.
Of course.
And I read it during reading time.
Oh, God. SSR. I miss
it. It's very, very special to me. And it felt like in some ways it was faithful, but in some ways it was so unfaithful.
Yeah.
And I was bored, which in some ways is the biggest
worst sin
of a horror movie.
Yes. Yeah.
But
I knew I wasn't gonna see it. Maybe I'll watch it when it hits like streaming or something.
I had to see it, and I hoped for the best. Because it looked so good. Sometimes with me...
It got good reviews?
Yeah, it did. Well, it got like 80%. A lot of people were just like, it's, it's great looking. It's got really good directing. It's got some good acting. It's got, when I was watching it, I thought, if this weren't Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, the movie, I might just like this for what it is.
Yeah.
Even though it's sort of, in the third act, it gets kind of boring. But it's not a good movie of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Well, it's a shame.
Especially because if you're familiar with the series, there are comedic stories at the the last chapter of all three books, because there's three books. There are funny stories in the end, and like there's really none of that in it.
I feel like this would be the perfect property to turn into a Netflix series or something.
Yeah.
A web series.
But even that would probably stretch them too far. That's why I feel like...
But if each one was like a half hour,
Yeah.
I feel like to make it a feature is just... They were asking for it to not be great. I don't know.
Yeah, and I remember when I first heard Guillermo del Toro, I was like, okay, this is good news. But then he ended up just being a producer on it.
Yeah, well, that's...
But I like him. You know the story behind Shape of Water, right?
No.
He was like, he went to Universal and he's like, I'd like to remake Creature from the Black Lagoon. And they were like, no. And he was like, okay, cool. And then he just made Shape of Water.
He's like, I'll just do my own ripoff.
I'll just do my own that's like way better and has sexy fish in it. Did you see Shape of Water?
No, I haven't.
Fantastic movie. So good.
I haven't seen a lot of... God, I feel like I haven't seen a lot of movies lately. I've been watching a lot of TV.
Hey, man.
Fleabag. I just watched season 3 of Glow.
How is it? I haven't even watched season 2. I just watched season 1. And I liked it, but it was one of those things where it was like felt done for me.
Season 1 I thought was really good. I thought season 2 was great. I think season 3, I don't know. I'm not
really
100% on it. It's gotten mixed reviews.
What can you tell?
It's an entirely different show now because it's now takes place in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And there are lots of new characters, and there's What I didn't like about it is that it's and this is going to sound maybe silly, but there's hardly any wrestling in it anymore.
Interesting.
And I guess that's a choice because they're choosing to focus more on the characters.
Yeah.
And some stuff happens, but there's much less of an emphasis on the wrestling because it's the same show night after night. So they're not doing anything new. So they can't do anything new.
But do they have a TV show?
No. At the end of... I forgot. You didn't watch season 2.
Yeah.
So at the end of season 2, the TV station cancels them. And then they're like, all right, well, we're going to go to another station. And then the TV station is like, no, you're not, because we own all the rights to those characters.
Uh-huh.
So because it's this whole thing with like the station gets bought out by a new person, the person tries to hit on one of the wrestlers and she turns him down. So then he can't, he moves their time slot to 3 a.m. and then they get canceled or whatever. So then in the very last episode of season 2, they're like, you can't perform those characters on TV, but the show has a cult following, and you have an offer from a casino in Vegas to take the show on the road.
I wonder if the Real Glow did that.
The Real Glow did go to Vegas.
Because there are some ways in which the Real Glow or the show is very different from the Real Glow. Like, none of the characters are really the same.
No, they're very
it seems like it's like
inspired
based in a glance by it.
Exactly. So season 3 then is a whole. It takes place over the span of a whole year, from January to December, and it's them in their residency at this casino in Vegas, and they're doing the same show every night. And that's part of the storyline, is that they're getting bored of doing the same show every night.
And that's also why they wouldn't show more wrestling.
Exactly right, because they're doing the same shit every night. But I feel like a lot happens, but none of it feels like it was planned. It almost is starting to remind me of Glee a little bit, where it's just like, oh no, the show is going to be canceled. Oh no, it's not. Like that. And it's like, I feel like it's crossing the line from drama to melodrama a little bit. And I don't know. It's
like Entourage, where it's always like, hey, is Vince going to do the movie? Oh no, he's not going to do it. Oh wait, he's going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. I think it was good, but I definitely think it's the weakest season so far.
Interesting. And other people
see. I've read a handful of good reviews and a handful of bad reviews of it. So it's gotten. It's definitely it's very different from the first 2 seasons. It's got Gina Davis in it though, and she's really good. She's
also in this season of She-Ra. She plays a queer character in the cartoon.
Really?
This like warrior. And I don't know if you know this. Gina Davis has her own like organization that produces cartoons with female representation in it.
That's cool. She's amazing.
She's
Davis.
Amazing.
She's in Mensa.
Is she really?
Yeah.
She was on Mark Maron recently.
Mark Maron's on Glow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she is amazing. Yeah, she's great on She-Ra.
That's one of my complaints also about Glow season 3, is that they really explore the romance between Mark Maron and Allison Brie.
Oh,
and
really?
It just feels...
No.
It feels forced. It feels like a writer's room concept.
I don't like it.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, no, Gina Davis is great. I know she was on The Exorcist, which is a show that you really loved.
Yeah, she played Reagan.
Yeah.
Oh, but we didn't know that until halfway through season 1 when it was a big twist.
In this, she plays like a manager, the main head manager of the casino. And then she has a fun number at the end where she comes out as a showgirl and does like a dance.
Fantastic.
It's got some fun stuff in it. It's just not great. It's not as great as the other 2 seasons, I think.
There was a comic book that was based on the Tim Burton Batman movies, and it sort of posited what if that series went on in the 80s. So they use 80s actors. So in the comic book, like, Gina Davis plays Poison Ivy.
Okay.
In the comic book, they draw Poison Ivy as her, as if she would have played them. Like, if it hadn't gone to Joe Schumacher and Tim Burton had just kept making them.
That's a niche. That's a high concept.
It's pretty cool, though.
That is cool.
Yeah. And also in that series, you have Billy D. Williams as Two-Face.
Yeah.
Because he's set up as Two-Face in the first movie.
They should have, yeah.
But he did live that out because he voiced Two-Face in the Lego Batman movie, Billy D. So he got there. Back. He got there. And of course now he's full circle. He's
Lando again.
Episode 9. He's old. He's like 70s old.
Well, aren't they? I mean, they're all old, right? The
I think he's older than the main 3, though.
Well, is it true that Benicio del Toro's character in episode 8 was originally supposed to be Lando? like when they were
I don't
originally
remember.
like putting together the story. Not the screenplay, but originally it was supposed to be Lando that turns them in and fucks them over.
I don't remember if it was or
That was definitely a
he was just
theory.
supposed to be like the Lando character.
I definitely know
Because
I read
he
a
kind of
theory
is like
that
the Lando
he was
character.
supposed to be Lando, and then they changed it to a different character and saved Lando for the next movie. I don't know if that's just a fan theory or if that's real.
I at some point I probably knew. I watched Ryan Johnson's audio commentary, but I forget. It's weird because he recorded it before the film was out, so there's no defensiveness to it. He's just
He's just like, this is a great movie.
he's just an artist talking about his art, and it's not.
He's like, this is going to be the most beloved Star Wars movie of all time.
Yeah, it's funny. You do see some fear in him, where he's like, "Yeah, we took a lot.
This is really different.
We
Yeah.
took a lot of chances and stuff."
I love, what the hell was it called?
The Last,
The Last Jedi.
I love that.
I love that movie.
What the fuck is it called? I saw Blinded by the Light.
And you liked it? You said you liked it. You didn't like
It
it.
had me wrapped up like a deuce.
In
Listen,
revved up like, isn't it revved up like a douche?
it's revved up like a douche.
It's not really though, right?
No, it's not. It was all right. Here's the thing about Blinded by the Light.
It got, the commercial tells me it got a 5-minute standing ovation at Sundance.
Sure. It's a little bit after schooly. It's very corny, and it's trying to be inspirational. It's by the guy who did Bend It Like Beckham.
Yeah, I bet he and his dad share a big hug at the end, huh?
Yeah, it gets it. There's some like cringy because
I
it gets
don't
so
understand
corny.
you, but I love you because you're my son.
Right, but there's some fights between the father and son that are good. The acting's all good. The parents are actually really good actors, and the
They're
main
supposed to
guy's
be
good.
Pakistanis who have migrated to London.
England, yeah,
Okay,
not
that's-
London, but England.
Oh, England. Okay.
And it's during the 80s.
Which is a time where there was a great migration of Pakistanis to England, I believe.
And there was a lot of racism
Yes, toward
against
them.
them, right?
Yes,
People called
absolutely.
them Pakis, and
Yeah.
like you see like neo Nazis like
Well, that was
spitting on
you see
him.
that too in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The main kid is good, but he's also like 42 playing 16.
Is he? He looks young.
No, he's definitely he's playing it a little too gee golly gosh.
Okay.
But it's good, I'm somebody who is not a Bruce Springsteen fan, but the movie made me appreciate Springsteen more because it is really about the lyrics. You really have to listen to what he's saying.
He is a great lyricist.
About like middle class life and shit.
I think what I've always disliked Bruce Springsteen because I thought he was something that he's not.
What?
Like, I think that I always thought he was like, yeah, fucking America, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But then really he's kind of satirizing that kind of a person, right?
There's a scene
And I always loved Philadelphia.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a great song.
There's a scene where after he's like now in love with Bruce Springsteen, he meets this girl and he's like, he tells her and she's like, Bruce Springsteen, Reagan listens to him. And then he's like, then she says something about Born in USA and he's like, that song's about Vietnam veterans being mistreated when they come home.
That I didn't know either.
But Reagan wanted to use that as his campaign
said
song.
no, right?
And he said, no, you obviously don't understand what the song is about.
Right. I do agree with you. You said it on a previous podcast. I agree with you that I think it was an odd choice to name it "Blinded by the Light" because that song is mostly known for the cover version.
Yeah.
It could have been
Dancing
Born
in
to
the
Run
Dark
or Dancing in the Dark.
You know, Born to Run actually would have been good. I bet there has been a Born to Run movie.
Probably.
But Born to Run, I feel like they do that a lot.
Yeah.
One of the questions is, I saw it with a friend, and one of the questions was that a musical? Because it's one of those things where it's like, was that a musical? Because there are scenes where they're like singing, but they're kind of lip syncing to the actual music. It's very
I bet
odd.
you it will be adapted to a Broadway musical. It looks like the type of movie.
I could see that. Oh, I could absolutely see it. Kind of like Once.
Yeah.
But even once that's all original music and they're really singing it. Actually, there are some scenes where they are singing it, but it's not. There's no magical realism to it.
It's just them.
It's
singing
just like they're
along
actually
to
just singing it.
But it looks like one of those movies that would be easily adapted to the stage and be really successful.
Yeah. What I really liked about it is part of what I think is in some ways the thesis of Pop Culture Man Children, which is like, even though he's nothing like Bruce Springsteen, he doesn't live in New Jersey, he doesn't live in America, he's not white. what gets him through his life and understanding his life is Bruce Springsteen's music. Because to me, like, that's like the whole thing of like pop culture. Like, you know, it helps you make sense of the world. And he's like super depressed and like doesn't know what to do before he finds Bruce Springsteen, and then he finds it, and it's like he has all this meaning now, and he you know, he takes his writing more seriously. He gets a girlfriend. Yeah, I liked it. It wasn't amazing.
I want to see it. That's one that I do want to see still.
And one more that I saw that I wanted to like way more than I did was Good Boys.
Oh, I'm gonna see that tomorrow.
You might like it, but here's the thing. It's not all, oh my God, these kids are being raunchy. It actually is deeper than that, which surprised me in a pleasant way, but it's not as funny as it ought to be. Okay. All the funniest stuff is in the trailer.
Okay.
So imagine all the funny stuff in the trailer, and then the movie has that stuff, but then in between those jokes is kind of sweet. It's almost sold the wrong way. They decided to sell it as, look, it's going to be a hard R. It's little kids cursing, and I think they should have sold it.
The poster is like, the whole ad campaign is that like the kids aren't old enough to see the movie they're in.
Yeah, I think they shouldn't have sold it that way. They should have sold it more of it like it's a coming of age movie with these little kids.
Okay.
But I liked it. The best was, what's his name? The little kid Lucas, who's the African American kid.
Okay.
He was my favorite kid. He was very sweet, and he joins the anti-bullying club at school. And whenever he does something bad, he confesses it, which is what I was like as a little kid. I'd always tell on myself. But it's pretty cute. I think if you've ever been in 6th grade, you'll feel some of it.
How is Jacob Tremblay?
He's good. No, I don't have anything bad to say about him. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about him. Well. I have nothing good to say about him either.
Oh boy.
You know, I wonder where he's going to go in life. You know, because you can only, you know, Jacob Tremblay so long.
Yeah, he was good in Wonder.
He was very good in that.
That's an underrated movie, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of just came and went.
Yeah. I liked it, though.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you've seen lately?
No, that's about it.
All right, let's take a break, and then we'll come back and talk about obsessions.
Okay.
Hello, welcome back to Pop Culture Man Children PCMC. I'm Mike Bongiorno. I'm joined today by Anthony Bongiorno.
What's up?
Anthony, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's your house. We're actually
Thank you for coming to my home.
It's great to be here.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Is this one of your favorite places to record, our office? Yeah.
Yeah, because for the people at home, the setup is you've got in your office what's a nice little room. You've got books here, which is nice.
Thank you.
But you've got, I don't know what you call this. It's a desk with
two sides.
You almost like a table, so that we're looking at each other. It's actually like perfect podcast setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm always in a place like when I record with Vin, he comes to the house. But when I record with Emilio, I usually go there. When I record with Janine, we usually do it in her dining room.
Dining room area.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't Emilio, I thought, always said he was in the basement.
Sometimes
you're in his bedroom.
Yeah. A lot. He does wrestle rap from the basement.
Okay.
But he's not doing wrestle rap anymore.
No, he used to say he was in your basement.
Oh, that would be the times.
Yeah.
Where he would come over.
Yeah.
Okay. So, my current obsession. I'm going to say it's an obsession because it's not a mental obsession, but it's almost like a physical addiction.
Yeah.
Which is Spyro, the video games.
Okay.
Jen Luttrell from the Harry Potter episode, she was like, let's play Spyro. So we downloaded it on, you could buy the 3 Spyro games through the PlayStation Store.
Okay.
And if you don't remember Spyro, it's almost like a mobile game, but it wasn't a mobile game. Spyro's a purple dragon who can glide, he can jump, and he can shoot fire. You go around collecting diamonds, and gems, and you just try to collect as much as you can. There's little puzzles, but it's not narrative really. I mean, there's like a little bullshit narrative, but like it's really just
it's like a puzzle game.
Yeah, and it's so pretty to look at. It's like candy. It's so light. I've really been enjoying like listening to podcasts. And
that's my favorite thing to do is listen to podcasts while I'm playing a game on my phone.
Yeah, I've been listening to podcasts
and laying in bed in the middle of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I guess maybe I should say the other half of my obsession is Armchair Expert, which is Dak Shepard's podcast.
A really good friend of mine keeps telling me I have to listen to that, and I just don't know why, but I really don't like Dak Shepard.
All right, I'm glad you brought this up.
But she said, you think you don't like Dak Shepard.
That's right.
It's insane.
That's right.
Why do so many people think they don't like Dak Shepard then? Is it because the characters he plays?
Yeah, and I think early on his persona was probably douchey.
He was douchey, yeah. But I always think of him as like annoying and douchey.
No, yeah, but when you listen to him now, he's open and raw and self-deprecating and talks about being an alcoholic, talks about being insecure that his wife is way more famous than him. Wow. He's very open. So your friend is right. Like when I started listening, I was like, wow, I actually like him. Like, cause he talks about that he's a shitty person. He talks about being a recovering addict.
Didn't he he went through like a serious depression too, didn't he?
I'm not sure.
Or am I thinking of Owen Wilson?
I'm not sure. Well, I mean, I'm not
both,
sure.
Maybe.
I mean, his addiction is related to.
Yeah.
Related to it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Armchair Expert, and it hasn't been around that long, like a year or so, and he's got some interesting guests. So I've been listening to that and playing Spyro, and it's like a real like zone out kind of like thing.
Yeah. That's cool.
What are you obsessed with?
Mine is a little, I guess, basic because I feel like a lot of people are into it.
Pumpkin spice lattes.
We're into it. Yeah, no. Well, I love pumpkin spice lattes. I know you do too.
Of course.
I've been reading The Handmaid's Tale, the book.
Okay.
Because a friend recommended that I watch the show.
Yeah. And
I was like, okay. And then a lot of people have said the show is really good, but then I saw the book was available for free on Amazon to read. So I'm like halfway through and it is amazing. And I've already decided I'm going to teach it this year.
Whoa.
And it's just really, really, really good, really well written. It's like blowing me away. It's so amazing.
I haven't watched the show or read the book. A friend of mine lent me the book. And I read like the first paragraph, and I was just like, I'm not ready for this right now. That's
dark.
That's why I haven't watched it or read it, because I know that it's all based on rape, right? It's an economy of rape, and I just can't bring myself to go there right now.
I have a selection if you'd like to hear.
Oh yeah.
So basically the book is split up into two halves, but they're interspersed. So it goes back and forth between her recollection of her old life and the time before the dystopia. And then the other half is like her going about her day and like her, like the ritual, about the sex ritual.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And like other like what the handmaids in general are responsible for. But this is like part of a flashback where from the first day where like a lot of women's rights are revoked.
Yes.
Suddenly.
That's how it begins, right?
Yes. And it's in the middle actually, but it's like a flashback. So she had been, she was going to work, going about her normal day, dropping off her daughter at school. And before this selection, just to give you context, she had gone to buy something and her credit card was denied. And then she kept trying to call the bank and was not getting an answer as to why they call it the Compu, because it's somewhat futuristic. They call it the Compu card or something, why that was denied. And then she goes to work and her boss comes in to tell her and all the other women in her department that they're fired. And he seems very nervous and there are men behind him with machine guns.
Oh my God.
And then so it's, she writes, when I got back to the house, nobody was there. Luke, who's her husband, was still at work. My daughter was at school. I felt tired, bone tired, but when I sat down, I got up again. I couldn't seem to sit still. I wandered through the house from room to room. I remember touching things, not even that consciously, just placing my fingers on them. Things like the toaster, the sugar bowl, the ashtray in the living room. After a while, I picked up the cat and carried her around with me. I wanted Luke to come home. I thought I should do something, take steps, but I didn't know what steps to take. I tried phoning the bank again, but I only got the same recording. I poured myself a glass of milk. I told myself I was too jittery for another coffee, and went into the living room and sat down on the sofa and put the glass of milk on the coffee table carefully without drinking any of it. I held the cat up against my chest so I could feel her purring against my throat. After a while, I phoned my mother at her apartment, but there was no answer. She'd settled down by then. She stopped moving every few years. She lived across the river in Boston. I waited a while and phoned Moira, so that's her friend who's like a big feminist activist. She wasn't there either, but when I tried half an hour later, she was. In between these phone calls, I just sat on the sofa. What I thought about was my daughter's school lunches. I thought maybe I'd been giving her too many peanut butter sandwiches. I've been fired, I told Moira when I got her on the phone. She said she would come over. By that time, she was working for a women's collective, the publishing division. They put out books on birth control and rape and things like that, though there wasn't much demand for those things as there used to be. Which shows kind of like that feminism had been kind of like what's happening today. Like people turned against feminism and feminists, and feminist became
a bad word,
like a bad word, and it became like a fringe thing. I'll come over, she said. She must have been able to tell from my voice that this is what I wanted. She got there after some time. So, she said, she threw off her jacket, sprawled into the oversized chair. Tell me. First, we'll have a drink. She got up and went to the kitchen and poured us a couple of scotches and came back and sat down, and I tried to tell her what had happened to me. When I'd finished, she said, tried getting anything on your CompuCard today? Yes, I said. I told her about that too. They've frozen them. She said, mine too, the collectives too. Any account with an F on it instead of an M. All they need to do is push a few buttons. We're cut off. But I've got over $2,000 in the bank, I said, as if my own account was the only one that mattered. Women can't hold property anymore, she said. It's a new law. Turned on the TV today? No, I said. It's on there, she said. All over the place. She was not stunned the way I was. In some strange way, she was gleeful, as if this was what she'd been expecting for some time now, and she'd been proven right. She even looked more energetic, more determined. Luke can use your comp account for you, she said. They'll transfer your number to him, or that's what they say, husband or male next of kin. What about you, I said. She didn't have anyone. I'll go underground, she said. Some of the gays can take over our numbers and buy us things we need. But why, I said. Why did they? Ours is not to reason why, said Moira. So that's just a little selection.
Wow.
It's really scary because it shows, like through her flashbacks, it shows that it's something that happens gradually and then all at once. Her credit card, all of a sudden it's just like a law has been passed. Women are not allowed to own property. And she sets up the background as like there was this event that happened where somebody killed the president and all of Congress all at once. It was like a militia came in and like just killed everybody in the government with machine guns, like all at the same time. And then they temporarily suspended the Constitution and the Bill of Rights in order to to preserve the country. And then from there, things just got worse and worse. And then eventually people who rose to power did so in order to kind of keep women out of power. They're no longer allowed to have property or whatever.
It was published in 1985.
Yes.
And it shouldn't be
I know.
So fucking relevant.
I know.
But it's probably more relevant now, right? I mean not that the 80s were great. It's so fucking relevant right now.
And that's what's so terrifying. I know it it's the show is popular now, but the book after the election became like a bestseller again. So as well as 1984. And these things that used to be dystopian that now are seeming more and more likely, which is terrifying.
A lot of women protest dressed as the handmaids,
which is why I'm so excited to teach it now, because I feel like it's more relevant than ever. Yeah. And I just think it'll spark some interesting discussions, and it's also an excellently written book. Yeah. So I'm loving it, and I'll probably finish it tonight.
I've never read any Margaret Atwood.
Neither had I. This is the first I'm reading of her, but I'm going to read more now. And she's publishing a sequel to this. It's coming out in a few months. I'm wondering if it's based on because the show continues I think just
Right,
season
the
1
show
of the
goes
show is the
more.
book.
Yeah.
And they're up to season 3 or something. So I wonder if she kind of does her own thing or she's stays similar.
Well, clearly the
stays
success
similar
of
to
the show is what inspired her to write more.
Oh yeah,
But I don't know.
they wear red. The handmaids. It's basically like the idea is they take what a woman is, the stereotypical woman, and they break it down into departments. So there's the department of childbirth. That's the handmaids. Then there's the Marthas who are in charge of like cooking and cleaning. And it's just this very patriarchal, sexist society where like the men are in control and the women are subjugated, and each one is given like a role to play. And a lot of it is also fertility rates drop really, really low. So the
that's
ones,
part of what.
yeah, the ones who are the handmaids are the ones who have had children before, so they know that they're fertile.
I see.
And they take their children away from them. So she's talking about her daughter she hasn't seen in forever.
But there's a class difference too, right?
Yes.
Isn't like wealth a big thing in terms of autonomy?
Yes. There are other wives that they call the Econo wives, and they are the wives of the poor. And they are looked down upon because they have to do everything, whereas the upper classes have a different woman for each job. It's really It's terrifying. I always makes me think of that meme with all the handmaids sitting on the bench and they're all looking at the one, and she's like, "I know, but I just didn't like Hillary."
Oh God.
I think it's cool that that handmade costume has become like a symbol of protest, and that you know, like a lot of women wear it to the women's marches and stuff. And I think it's cool that in that little selection, she shouts out the gays as an ally to the women. That the gay men will protect the women who don't have husbands.
Yeah, I like that too.
It's interesting.
This kind of reminds me of what's been going on. What was in the news like last week or a couple weeks ago? It was I'm trying to find the story. You know the new Colossus?
Yeah.
Which is the poem that's on the Statue of Liberty?
Yes.
Because to me, when change happens, a lot of it is that change happens when you have that 1985 thing of just redefining things. Mm-hmm. And someone in the Trump White House suggested a change to it. Which
is so dystopian.
It's very dystopian because the whole point of it is America is this open place where you can come and prosper. Like that's the point.
Give me you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry.
Yeah. Who was it? Kenneth T. Cuccinelli II, a top Trump administration immigration official. He said we should add, quote, "Give me you're tired, you're poor, who can stand on their own 2 feet."
Yeah. It's
that's
so Orwellian. It's so
right.
terrifying.
That's what it reminded me of that. Like we're just gonna redefine something. It's like it's a tiny little rhetorical change, yet it changes a core value.
It's like 2 legs. What was it? It's like 4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Yes, exactly.
But then they added like with clothes. Or so like they added a thing to the credo to excuse themselves.
Or like in how 1985, like
and 1984.
1984. He works for Winston works for the propaganda agency.
Yeah, but they're called the Department of Truth.
Right, and exactly, and he has to just go through the newspaper and change the past to fit whatever the current ideology is. Well, this ended in a dark place.
It's a great book though, and I'm excited to watch the series after I finish the book.
I wonder if you'll like it. I've heard some people say that the most recent season wasn't very good.
I get the feeling that the main character in the Elizabeth Moss character, I get the feeling that she's more proactive in the show than
I think
in the
it's
book.
about starting like a revolution.
Yeah, which I think that's coming in the book. I'm only halfway through again, but I think they really fleshed that out in the series from what I've seen. It was also a movie too. People always forget that.
Wow, was it?
In the late 80s, like 88 or 89, there was a feature version of
it.
Who
played
Natasha Richardson?
Really?
Yeah, and I think Robert Duvall and Faye Dunaway was in it too, I believe.
I had no idea of that.
Yeah, that existed.
Wow.
Yeah, and Robert Duvall, I believe, was the commander, who's like the husband. I've never seen that either. I'll check that out too, just because it looks interesting.
Interesting. Well, that is fairly interesting. That's way deeper than my dragon video game.
That's what I'm here for, you know.
You bring the fucking intellectualism, which is sorely needed. Anthony, this has been a good episode.
Thank you.
This has been
It's been
Pop
great.
Culture Man Children. Thanks for being here. This is Pop Culture Man Children. If you're listening for the first time, Pop Culture Man Children is a podcast that deals with all media outlets in the form of arts and entertainment, novels, video games, cartoons, TV, you know, a little bit of music, stuff like that. And, you know, pop culture is important, so that's what we talk about. And we come out every Wednesday. We have some regular episodes where we have 3 segments, like the one you just listened to, where we talk about news, current trailers, our current obsessions, and what's just on our mind. And then we have theme episodes, which we tackle one specific theme. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are available. We end every episode by quoting the great Animal from Muppet Babies, which is...
Go bye-bye.
Go bye-bye.